So the question is, how do you get customers? So the best way to get customers is to network, and you can get this book for free. Go to harounventures.com. It'll teach you everything about networking you need to know to get customers. And understand that relationships are always more important than product knowledge. And in order to understand what kind of customers you can go after, I want you to use Twitter as follows. Whatever business you're in, there's probably other people that compete with you. I want you to find salespeople at other companies, maybe go on LinkedIn and find their names. Then I want you to go to Twitter, and I want you to see who those salespeople follow, because I guarantee you they follow their customers. They definitely follow their customers because they think it's a great way for them to kind of stay up to date on what their customers are saying from a social media perspective. And when their customers follow them, it's rude not to follow them back. That's what I want you to do. This is a hidden gem, and not many people do this. I want you to go to Twitter and find out who competing salespeople follow. And I want you to go after them, meaning who they follow as customers. Obviously, be ethical about all of this, but there's no rule saying you can't do that. Social media is a wonderful thing. And you can, if you let your cards down and you follow the wrong people on Twitter, it can show your hand. So, for example, you never want to follow politicians on Twitter because half the people might not like you. I don't know what half. Okay. So anyway, another way to get customers is I want you to start going to shareholder meetings. Why? Because nobody goes and they're really boring. And it's the best way to get access to CEOs one-on-one. And when you're trying to get customers, the most frustrating thing is talking to people in a company that aren't the decision maker. What a waste. So you got nothing to lose by talking to the CEO. Nothing to lose and everything to gain. Here's what you do. I used to go to these shareholder meetings all the time. And I would do it because it was a great way for me to get access to CEOs. And no one was around. I go to these things, and usually they're like 3 or 4 hours long, and they talk about what's happened in the past year, and a bunch of old people are there like me, whatever, and there's bad coffee. And then afterwards, what happens is you can go up to the management team and talk to them. You can corner the CEO and talk to her or him for ages. And they don't leave until you leave because other senior executives from the company are there, and they want to set a good example. And also because board members are quite often at those shareholders meetings. And they want to set a good example to the board. Hey, look, they're talking to potential, investors or whatever. Anybody can go to these shareholder meetings. All you got to do is just search for them online. And you might even have to travel for them a little bit, drive a couple hours or take a flight, whatever. But sometimes one meeting with one CEO can change your life. And what happens usually is this. You meet the CEO. You exchange business cards, right? They always have business cards, these things. And then what you do is you make sure that you say a couple, get to know them a little bit really quickly, whatever, and then go in for the kill, which is you try to sell your product, right? And if they come up with an answer, say, well, it's not something we're really interested in, say, was there something in your company I could speak with then? And they're going to say, sure, you can speak with Joanne Smith. I'm making a name up here. And then you find Joanne Smith's contact details and say, I met with the CEO, and he or she said I should speak with you about this. You can do it with jobs too. You could say, I'm really interested in working at your company, very passionate about your product. I'd love to work for you. Is there any way I could? And the CEO will say, sure, just speak with HR. And you'll say, well, who in HR? And they're cornered. They're going to say, they're going to give you, they'll give you a name, John Smith. You'll contact John Smith and say, I met with your CEO and he or she said that, to contact you about sitting down for an informational meeting about working at the company. It's brilliant. Nobody does it. Nobody does it. Ask and you will receive. It's been true and prophetic since the beginning of time. And remember that Steve Jobs video I keep mentioning. Search YouTube for Steve Jobs Ask. If you don't ask, you won't get. But this is a wonderful way to get access to customers by going right to the top, by going to shareholder meetings. And you can even do it this way. If the CEO is so far removed and CEO of such a massive company that the CEO doesn't even know who you could talk to about selling your product or service to within their company, then ask them, who in your company should I speak with about selling, I'm making this up, my thermos product to? And the CEO would say, oh, well, that would be probably somebody in the procurement division. And then you say, oh, what's the name of the person? Oh, Steve Johnson is his name out of the Dakota office. Whatever, I'm making it up. So contact Steve Dakota and say, your CEO said to contact you or gave me your name when I met with him or her. Are they going to take that call or that meeting? Effing right they are. Because their boss, they work for the CEO. So that's what I recommend doing. And you can even do it this way. You can even, after you talk to the CEO for a while, say, do you mind if we set up can I come by sometime just for a quick coffee? And there's board members all around them watching and other executives. Are they going to say no to somebody that came to a shareholder meeting about grabbing a coffee? No. They're not going to say no. It's a double negative. They're going to say yes. And then you go in for the kill and say, oh, okay, what's your email? And they usually say, well, just email my assistant, Tim Johnson, whatever. And then you say, oh, what's the email address? And they'll give it to you, whatever. And then you email Tim Johnson, say, Tim, hope all is well. I met with your CEO at the shareholder meeting, and I want to set up a follow-up meeting, and your CEO told me to reach out to you to set this up. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain.